Good day to you and welcome to this edition of Young Living's audio training series. I'm Doug Corrigan, Senior Director of Training and Education for Young Living Essential Oils. Very pleased to be with you today and discuss two essential oil singles that are actually grown and originate at Young Living Farms, specifically in the area of our farms in Idaho. From the beautiful St. Mary's Farm in Idaho, we are going to discuss St. Mary's Lavender, and then, of course, from the Highland Flats Farm, just up the road from St. Mary's, is where we grow the Balsam fir. And, of course, as this is coming to you in January, we will be in the middle of the harvest, so consider this a harvest celebration. But whether it's harvest time or not that you happen to listen to, the information that we're going to share should be pretty timeless, because these two oils really epitomize what sets Young Living apart as the world leader in essential oils. I mean, a really significant number of our essential oils actually grown on our own farms, either in Ecuador or, of course, Mona, the farm in Utah, and then also in Idaho. And there's other farms that we have and utilize, and through all that, you can really start to understand what makes Young Living so different. We're proud of that singular opportunity we have to focus strict attention to detail through this whole process that we call seed to seal, from the seeds sown in the ground to the plants harvested, and then beyond that, ensuring that our oils are the purest and most authentic oils available anywhere, and that they're also the most effective. No other essential oils company can claim such involvement in the entire process and the depth and breadth of their line like Young Living. Really, we are unequaled in this regard. You can search high and low. You'll find other companies who are good at parts of the supply chain, maybe 2 of the 5 steps that we consider necessary to ensure purity, authenticity, and efficacy. These things ensure that we'll provide the most therapeutic benefits. Only Young Living diligently monitors all 5 of these important steps, and of course each one of these important steps has many other sub-portions and sub-steps, so to say. And let's briefly just take this opportunity where we're at harvest time to discuss this vital seed-to-seal process. And we'll start with step 1. The foundation of pure and authentic essential oils is really making sure that the seeds are the right seeds and that they're planted in the right soil, because be what it may, a plant will never become more than the soil that it's grown in. Potent essential oils come from the right plant species that are carefully identified and authenticated by Young Living experts through scientific research, field study, university partnerships, and on-site planning certification. And step 2 includes careful cultivation on one of Young Living's 6 global farms or special partner cooperative farms, where we hand-in-hand have helped develop the practice at these different farms. Young Living Essential Oils has mastered the cultivation of pure, potent essential oils and utilizes this knowledge around the world as we meet with these cooperative farm partners, and we certify that the growing processes on each of these farms is uniform and meets Young Living's strict attention to quality and our quality standards. Step 3 is distillation. This is another place where Young Living is really unequaled in our experience, and so much of it revolves around Gary Young, Young Living's founder and president, as he studied the distillation process throughout the world, but originally really came to know the distillation process by studying with some of the French masters. He has refined and mastered procedures to produce the finest essential oils in the world. What's so critical there is distillation with the end therapy in mind, so medicinal grade essential oils, and that is what Gary is distilling for, not a certain scent or a certain taste or anything like that. He has in mind to maintain its natural therapeutic properties. I love the story that initially when Gary found that distillation equipment that met his stringent standards wasn't readily available for purchase, he custom built much of his own distillery equipment, and he still refines so much of his own distillery equipment to this day. This unique equipment is now used at Young Living distilleries that produce the purest oils in the world. And Young Living's proprietary low-temperature, low-pressure steam distillation process ensures that the beneficial plant compounds in every batch of essential oil remain uncompromised during the entire extraction process. Before we go on to the last 2 steps, it's just important to realize for people who are new, the first 3 steps are really the most important steps to ensure quality and efficacy. We've found through our many years of involvement with essential oils that if we do these first things right, then the last few steps are really there just to safeguard that something hasn't gone wrong, that hasn't been visible to us. And this is where we're so different than so many other companies who these last 2 steps are the only things that many of them do. But with that being said, let's go on and talk about why testing essential oils after they've been carefully distilled to ensure that nothing's gone wrong, that they contain the optimal balance of bioactive compounds, insurance, so to say. But this still is a vital part of the seed to seal process because you've got to always check your blind spot. You learned that back in driver's education, right? And Young Living has invested in the costly equipment that's necessary to conduct this thorough testing. Young Living uses its own internal labs. So critical that a company has its own internal labs. And the reason why is that constant testing, especially with Young Living's vast product line, all the different oils that we receive to make our blends and the single oils that we receive to sell as singles, these all need to be tested batch for batch for batch. And if you don't have your own internal labs and that infrastructure built, it's easy for people to just skip over that process because it can be so costly if you're constantly retesting and testing using third-party laboratories. That is a very costly process. So Young Living invested in its own labs, its own expertise, but here again, checking our blind spot. When we have a question about an oil that we've analyzed and it's just not adding up right, or we think that maybe something's gone wrong in the analysis, we also utilize some of the best third-party labs in the world. So to audit, again, to check our own blind spots to make sure that something hasn't gone wrong or that something might be off with our own equipment. So checking and then double checking. Make sure that Young Living meets or exceeds all purity and potency standards and that each essential oil must pass really this finished product stringent testing. Now, Young Living completes the seed to seal process by, of course, the careful sealing of each bottle. The way we bottle it, of course, in our amber glass bottles and store it in temperature-controlled areas. Essential oils, when you protect them from oxygen and light, can be very robust and can be preserved, well, almost indefinitely. I mean, when you talk about essential oils that were preserved in the Egyptian tombs and still active after thousands of years, well, that's the kind of power and potency they have if you protect them, again, from oxygen and light. And we go to great lengths to make sure that that's the case. Now, as you know, Gary Young meticulously researches everything about an essential oil, including its seed and the land that it will best grow on before it's distilled, tested, and sealed for delivery to our customers. And this, of course, he's learned firsthand in his own laboratory, really the birthplace of Young Living Farms in St. Mary's, Idaho. Of course, that wasn't his first farm. He experimented in his own backyard there in Spokane, Washington for a while when he was first getting started. But this was really the first farm where Gary had the opportunity to really put all that he had learned to the test. And of course, it started him on a whole adventure of learning. Prior to purchasing this farm in 1992, these 200 acres of pristine farmland in St. Mary's, Idaho had never been plowed or subjected to chemicals, pesticides, or fertilizers of any kind. This pure soil and climate was surrounded by an evergreen forest, and it was far from the pollution of urban centers, and it made St. Mary's an ideal place to start experimenting with essential oils. And of course, the essential oil, probably the most famous essential oil in the world, why not experiment with that one? And that is lavender essential oil. Now, let's talk about St. Mary's lavender. Just to know that that is the pure and true lavender that is grown there in St. Mary's, Idaho. And lavender, St. Mary's or otherwise, it's considered by many natural healers a virtual medicine chest in a bottle because of its diversity of uses. The most important and well-studied benefit of lavender, well, of course, I guess it could depend on your perspective as far as how important it is, but let's call this the most well-studied benefit of lavender, is well known to promote feelings of relaxation and help with feelings of overstress and anxiety. And it has a significant and demonstrable effect at balancing out the nervous system by activating and elevating, inspiring, so to say, the function of the parasympathetic part of the nervous system, which helps to balance out the sympathetic part of the nervous system. So here we have flight or fight in the sympathetic side, and then we have the parasympathetic, which is often known as the rest and digest. So it helps all those other pieces, the metabolism, the immune system, all those different things are strengthened when that part of the nervous system is inspired. And of course, anybody knows who's studied this very much at all is that oversympathetic. This is what we're dealing with in today's society. The cortisol levels are constantly going up. We're constantly being bombarded with information that stresses us out, and that really elevates the function of the sympathetic nervous system, and it keeps us in this continual fight or flight, high cortisol, high stress hormones, and that wears us out. So what we want to do is inspire that other part of our nervous system, and a number of studies have found that the scent of lavender, many studies, more than we can go into here, has a calming effect and normalizes your stress response profoundly. Now, when one makes even a casual effort to better understand the stress response, science is showing us that one would be very wise to make a far more concentrated and deliberate effort to find ways to balance out this response and relax. We need to realize that this is so much more than just winding down at night and getting a proper night's sleep. That is an important part of helping our mind to, relax and helping our mind to reset. That is critical. But throughout the day, we need to find little moments where we can get more balance and get our emotions in check. Now, this will not only ease anxiety, but will also improve performance tremendously. Some kind of have this false idea that it will make them sleepy, or using lavender maybe throughout the day might make them sleepy. But in actuality, it can help us be far more focused and less distracted. And both of these oils that we're going to talk about today have this effect on me. Now, the effect for me is a little bit more pronounced with the balsam fir, and I'll digress here just a little bit, but both lavender and balsam fir have really helped me in regards to just breathing those in, taking a moment, and relaxing. And it just can be that simple to just get a really great perspective, a grounding part of our day. Now, when I breathe in balsam fir especially and close my eyes and concentrate, I'm almost instantly transported to any one of the hundreds of different times I've hiked through a grove of fir trees and breathed in the mountain air and that beautiful fir aroma. That just feels, I can instantly feel those experiences and that natural living energy. I've grown to have this same response with lavender, probably through my associations with the Young Living farms. Anybody who's been to one of those farms and has had the chance to even just to touch a fresh lavender spike and put it in their hands and smell that beautiful, beautiful aroma, knows how instantly that can just transport them into another place, a good and positive place where our emotions are in check and we're grounded in the moment. That's such a critical part of helping us through the stress response. Now, inhaling lavender, this calming and soothing essential oil, just to give you an example, it promoted relaxation in mice that had been injected with caffeine. So these were mice that were specifically revved up. I always think this study is really interesting because they did everything they could to rev these mice up, and then they wanted to see if lavender would help in these overstressed, overstimulated mice, and it did. It helped to return their motility, it helped their ability to move spontaneously, and balanced it back to near normal levels, as reported in the December 1991 edition of the Zeitschrift für Naturforschung, a journal of biosciences, so a German journal. Lavender promotes balance both physically and emotionally, and again, because mental stress is considered an independent risk factor for many diseases, at the top of the list, cardiovascular disease, Chiba University researchers evaluated the effect of lavender on cortisol levels and circulation. Remarkably, inhaling lavender for 30 minutes significantly reduced serum cortisol levels and considerably increased coronary circulation. This is what I was talking about a little bit earlier. When the cortisol levels are balanced out, we get more into the rest and digest, and that increases our metabolism. The circulation balances out, and we're just not so tense anymore. Now, these scientists who reported their findings in the September 2008 issue of Journal of Cardiology concluded that lavender aromatherapy has relaxation effects and may have beneficial acute effects on coronary circulation. So you want to help your heart? Well, get rid of some stress. You want to get rid of some stress? Lavender essential oil is tremendous for that, and anxiety and all kinds of different related nervous system type imbalance. Now, this special oil grown on the St. Mary's farm in northern Idaho is highly regarded for its ability to help us emotionally. One of the things that the St. Mary's lavender does that I think even a little better than just lavender, and this is my own personal experience, is really to use as a skin healer and a beauty aid. And of course, lavender became famous, discovered by the French scientist René Gadafosse, and who discovered lavender's amazing ability to promote tissue regeneration and aid wound healing when he was burned in his laboratory. Well, lavender, it's an antiseptic, it's an anti-inflammatory, it has some antifungal, capacities, all kinds of things that are going on with lavender. And it's been traditionally used, of course, to cleanse minor cuts, help to heal bruises faster, and any skin irritation of any kind. Lavender is a great bet. I find the St. Mary's lavender even a little bit better in this area of tissue regeneration and wound healing, and especially if you want something to give a little bit better skin condition, help with dryness, burns, stings. I like St. Mary's lavender in this regard. I also really enjoy the different scent of the St. Mary's lavender. So some people will argue that, hey, they like the original, they're grown in Mona or grown in France, a little bit different or a little bit better. Of course, Young Living has a lavender farm in France itself. And so pick the lavender that you like the best. The most important part is that you enjoy using it, that you consume it frequently. But in the end, I actually quite like the St. Mary's scent, and I especially like it in regards to its skin applications. It's an excellent choice for winding down. Of course, before bedtime, we use this all the time in our household to just relax and to get a restful night's sleep. But again, it's not just for nighttime. Like I said before, it can be used throughout the day, but a really great way to just relax and get your mind in a great place to get a good night's sleep. A few drops on the pillow or diffused in the bedroom, it can really help you to get a more restful, deeper, more profound sleep. Calming, relaxing, balancing properties. And this is a concept that's not new to herbalists, but it really acts as an adaptogen. Wherever the body finds itself, wherever the nervous system finds itself, it tends to bring balance. It tends to help us find a middle ground. It normalizes, regulates systems according to what the body needs. Now, we're going to move from there and into balsam fir. Now, I already told you a little bit about my connection to balsam fir. I love this oil as an aromatic. It's tremendous in my household, not just in the wintertime, but throughout the year. Now and then, balsam fir is just the perfect thing to diffuse. It is, of course, classically associated with Christmas, but I would implore people, don't just use balsam fir aromatically during Christmas, because it can have a profound effect on our emotions in a positive way, and it does so with me, especially when you have these powerful associations with the outdoors and good experiences that you've had in the outdoors. It's warm aroma, it's grounding, as we talked about. A lot of these tree oils, because they are so firmly rooted in the Mother Earth, they have this effect to firmly root us to Mother Earth as we use them, I believe. And they can stimulate the mind and relax the body. May also help to maintain emotional balance, like we've been talking about with removing emotional blocks and encouraging just a strong sense of self and strength and inner peace. And it might be a little bit different for every single person, but to know that for the most part, people using balsam fir will experience these things that we just discussed. That's just the beginning for balsam fir. It is a versatile oil. The incredible oil has a long history of use in folk medicine, where it was used extensively for its respiratory and circulatory supportive properties. All these fir oils are really rich in a lot of bioflavonoids that are really helpful to the circulatory system, and of course they also have a great effect at relaxing and opening the airways in the respiratory system. Now, it's also been used traditionally to aid occasional joint, muscle, ligament, and tendon discomfort. I love using it in this regard because the minute you start to use it in this regard, you get the double whammy in a good way, so to say. You get the great respiratory help and circulatory help, and of course the emotional help by breathing it in. And then also it has great ability to soothe inflammation and to really help heal faster. Native Americans used almost every part of the fir trees as medicine to manage a variety of ailments, from treating sores and, of course, to respiratory discomfort. Balsam fir is something that we have around the house constantly. It's always available in the car as well, because the minute you get any kind of an injury or bruise or a scrape or something like that, you can apply balsam fir. It's totally gentle. It doesn't sting when you apply it. It's just a healer from the get-go, and I find that it's really important and actually works better if you apply it as quickly as possible. Not to mean that you can't apply it after the injury has occurred, but it works best if you apply it as soon after the injury or the insult has happened. You start applying it and then keep it on there and keep reapplying. Balsam fir is also very well known for its role in the deep relief roll-on, which of course is a flagship product for Young Living. It's also a favorite among women to help balance their mood. I guess it works for men and women because it always balances my mood and makes me feel good. Simply diffuse it or add a few drops to your hands, and just classic aromatherapy in a moment is cup them over your nose and mouth and inhale and just get transported to a different place, a good, positive, different place. Now, we could go on and on. Literally, both of these oils are just mainstays in our home and a great way to tell people the story of Young Living. If you have not had the opportunity at some point to go to the Highland Flats farm and see them when they're harvesting spruce or fir or whatever might be on the docket that year, or help to replant in the reforestation of the fir, what a great thing to be involved with. Talk about a grounding experience. More than just smelling the oils, but to see and experience where they're grown, the care that's taken, and the energy that's expended to produce these wonderful gifts. Again, not just the winter harvest, but the summer harvest. You have the opportunity to participate in the St. Mary's harvest and harvest lavender, see where it's grown. And Melissa, that's another tremendous, tremendous oil to have a connection with. You can experience all these things really through only one company that I'm aware of, and this is through Young Living. Go and see for yourself what makes the seed to seal process so special, and you will never look at that bottle of essential oil the same. Until next time, I wish you the best as you share Young Living and our story with the world, and I wish you personally Godspeed in your journey for health.